Hi guys, I'm going to, well today is September 1st, 2018, and I'm getting ready for Monday to start my 10 weeks of prepping for my show. I'm going to do another fitness show. I did one last year and I put on quite a bit of muscle, but also I put on fat with that muscle. I've maintained a very healthy lifestyle, but I want to see what it's like to do this fitness show in a more better mindset than I was. Last year I was very ready to change my life, but I was not ready to change my head. I wasn't making it a lifestyle change. I had a goal and that's where I was going to go, and I wanted to get there and have the best body ever, but my mental state was not catching up with me. So this year my whole goal is to do this in a more healthy manner mentally. So, but there's still the core things that you have to do. And so with this video, I want to talk to you about measurements and calculating your body fat and your lean muscle, and why it's so important to take those pictures every couple of weeks or every week, where to track your measurements to see that progress. Because sometimes you gain muscle, and sometimes so you don't see it on the scale, but you'll see it in your inches. So, and sometimes you can compare those pictures to each other and see a huge difference when you're not seeing it necessarily in the mirror, because you look at yourself every day and you're not seeing it on the scale, and things like that. So I want to just prepping for a show can be very mentally challenging, because you get all this pressure on you about competing and being in front of people and being judged and all of that stuff. So I want to try to help you through that process, or see what I'm going through. You're going to see bad days. I'm going to cry. I'm going to be a hot mess. But the biggest foundation is getting your measurements, getting your stats, writing them down, and just accepting whatever they are, because all you can do is move forward. So I have a list here of things we're going to measure, and so this is my husband Matt, and he's going to help me measure my shoulders, my chest, waist, my left bicep, my right bicep, my hips, my left thigh, my right thigh, my left and right calf, and then I measured myself, and I measure myself in the morning and then this afternoon. So I want to talk about that when we get there. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. So I just got this out of nowhere special. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it out of the sewing section, wherever. It's nothing. It costs like 99 cents. I don't know. It wasn't very much. But you always go by this in inches. It's just easier to stay consistent with that. And also when you're doing it, I would not flex. So try to be natural when you're doing them, so then you're consistent with those measurements. So the first one we're going to do is shoulders. So I'm just going to be natural and go around my shoulders. But he's going to go up, not around my chest, because especially not me per se.
Helps if you use the right end.
And not me per se, I don't have a large chest, but women that do have a larger chest, they tend to lose that.
40 and 3/4.
40 and 3/4. All right, we're doing the chest, so right around your breast area. For guys, it'd be the same area. It's the nipple line.
36 and a half.
36 and a half. So as I was saying, people that are larger, have larger breasts, they're going to lose a lot of that fat in that area. So it's very important to make sure that you're measuring around your shoulders, because your shoulders and your lats will get bigger. So you want to see how much wider you're getting, which wider in a fitness world, that's a good thing. We want to be wider, we want to be broader, but you also want to measure around your chest like we just did, because your breasts will get smaller. You'll lose a lot of fat in that area, especially for women. All right, the next one is the waist, and you always go with the belly button. That's a good way to always remember. So make sure that you're down on the belly button. Don't go too tight.
30 and a half.
All right, my left arm is my bicep. So I'm not that it makes a ton of difference, but you kind of, especially when you start to get muscle, you want to flex that, but you just want to try to stay natural, and you're just going in the middle of your arm. So from here to here, and then just go into the middle, kind of the biggest part of your arm. 11 and a half. Okay, my arm. Now, the reason that we measure both sides of your arm is because there's a thing called, you want to be symmetrical. And in fitness competitions, they really look at that, the symmetry. So is your left side symmetry, the symmetrical, how do you say that word? Symmetrical, thank you, to your right side. And then also they look, hemisphere is the top symmetrical. Say that word again. Symmetrical. Ah, I can't get it. From the top to the bottom. So a lot of people will focus on to the top when they're doing weightlifting, and then they don't focus as strongly on the thighs. Or they focus, us girls, we like to have that nice booty and stuff. So we focus sometimes too much on our legs and then not enough on our upper body. So we have to make sure that when we're weightlifting that we are thinking about all of the areas and trying to get them a well-rounded look. All right, the next thing is, what was my right one?
Waist. Oh, your right one was 11 and a half.
11 and a half. So I am symmetrical. I'm not saying the other word anymore. Hips. Hips, we want to think about up here, but really the only reason that we're trying to measure the hips is to measure your butt, those saddlebags, those kind of things. So always think about measuring, so you measure in the same spot every time, is measure the biggest part of your butt area around. So then if your butt does lift or something like that, you're still measuring in the same area. All right, left thigh. I got some thighs on me. So if you happen to look at my pictures from last year, my thighs were my weakest area on me. Like, I thought that not when I went to competition, but in my life, generally, we have that shape in our family where our thighs are just big, and 25 and a half. And so it's been very self-conscious when I would wear shorts, cellulite, and stuff like that. Even though I ran and I was very athletic, well, not very athletic, but I mean, I was very, I exercised quite a bit, so I feel like I'm athletic now. 25 3/4. So yeah, this was my most insecure area, and then when I went to a competition, it was the area that I got the most compliments on, was how amazing my thighs were. So my thing is, I kept telling everybody, I know they're chunky, but I feel like there's muscle under there. And guess what? I was right. Once I lost that fat, all those muscles popped out, and I was like, I was so right.
14 3/4.
Okay, so if you didn't hear what he said, my left and right thigh are a little off. My left is 25.5, and my left thigh was 25.75. So
14 and a half.
14 and a half. Which makes sense, is because I have a lot of trouble with my hip flexors. So when my hips go out, then I favor one side more than the other. And so we'll talk about this in another episode, but really important to talk about self-care. All right, so I got my measurements, and I weighed myself this morning, and I was 141.5. I weighed myself this afternoon at 144.6. So I just kind of want to make sure that you know that when you are weighing yourself, that you want to weigh yourself consistently. Best time to weigh yourself is in the morning. You haven't had anything to drink. Get up, go to the bathroom, pee, do whatever you got to do, come back and measure yourself, and be consistent with what you're wearing, either naked or in a bra, and maybe a sports bra, or your bra, or for guys just boxers or whatever. But be consistent on what you're wearing, and make sure your scale is in the exact same spot every time. Because mine, I move it around, and like one time I was over there and I was like 124, and then I moved over here and I was like 150 something. And so always keep it in the same spot, be consistent. Even if it's off a couple of pounds from maybe the doctor, it's consistent against itself if it's in the same place every time. Okay, another thing to help calculate your body fat, the percentage, and how much fat you have versus how much lean muscle you have, is there's a couple of different ways. This is another thing, really cheap thing to use, but it can be very tricky. So if you can't see from far away, there's this little thing that says press. So when you're pushing down and you have resistance, it'll press in, and it's a little clicking, and you'll see it. And that's where it kind of can be a little inconsistent. So it's really important for the same person to do it every time. I did do it on myself earlier, but I'm gonna have Matt go through and just so you see the sites. And then you could just Google 7-site skin fold calculator, and it'll come up, and you can just put in the measurements and it'll pop out. You put your age in, you put your height, and then you put all the sites in, and it'll come out and it'll tell you what your body fat percentage is, what your fat is, and then how much lean muscle you have. And the reason this is important is because then you can see, when you keep doing this over and over again, how you can see that progression of, am I gaining mass, am I losing fat, what's my body doing, so then you can adjust appropriately your diet. All right, so the first one is your chest, and that is going to be more up in your upper area. I don't know what we usually call that, but you know that area that pops out of that area. So you just want to grab it. You can tell the difference between grabbing fat and grabbing muscle. So you just do that, and when you push on it, you're going to feel a little bit of resistance, and then that thing will click, and you need to be watching when that dial is. When I did it on myself, it was 10. Is that about what you got?
Yep.
Okay. And there are some sites that are really nice that tells you, that gives you 3, if you do it and there's 3 different measurements, it'll give you the average of those 3, because this can be a little tricky until you get used to it. All right, the next one is on your abdomen. And so right, just like 1 inch over from your belly button, you're gonna grab it and push down until it clicks. And I got about 24.
Yep.
Yep. All right. So it goes in like by 2s, like 22, 24, 26, 28. And then the thigh, this is always hard for me because it's hard to get thigh when you have so much muscle to get an accurate measurement of your thigh, but I got 32. So close. And how to remember that is always from your hips to your knee, and then just go to the middle. So you're always doing the exact same areas. And then you're gonna do the back of your triceps. So again, make sure you're not grabbing muscle. You grab that muscle and kind of slide down until you feel the muscle go away. I have around 18.
Yeah, it's
18? Okay, good. In the scapula, this is one I couldn't do very well, but the scapula, alright, see when I pop my shoulder blade out, so it's at the very bottom base on the inside, so like if you put your hand like this, it's like right there. That's what your scapula is, and so he wants to make sure that, sorry, you got it? I was thinking of around 20, it's kind of hard to do it yourself.
Yep, that's
20?
right at 20.
Oh, I'm amazing. Hip. So this is your hip bone. You're gonna feel that bone come up, and it's right at the top. So right there. And I got around 20, I think.
Yep.
Right, 20? Okay. And then the mid-axle is, I'm trying to think of where that, oh, yeah. So it's right below your bra line. And if for men, it's right, like here's the nipple line, and then right maybe a couple inches below that to the side. This is all scientific places where they feel that is the best way to measure your all-around fat content.
I got about 18.
Yep, that's what I got too. All right, so I put that into the calculator that I said. I just Googled 7-site skin fold, and I come out with my weight of 141.6. My body fat was 27.35, and then my fat was 38.7, and my lean muscle mass was 102.8 pounds. if I take that weight that I did this afternoon, 144.6, my body fat is 27.35%. My fat is 39.5, so that went up about a pound and 0.2 ounces. And then my lean body mass is 105.1, which is up about 3 pounds. So just so that you know, it does matter when you are weighing yourself, because we eat salty things, and when we eat salty things we have a sodium, or we haven't had a bowel movement. I know that's gross, but that's the truth. There's just a lot of things. We drink a whole bunch of water, or we haven't drank a whole bunch of water, so we get dehydrated and our body holds water. Lots of different things. Here's another really cool tool. It's not necessary, it's one of those things that is not always, it's always accurate against itself. It's not 100% accurate that it's magically reading the vibrations of your fat and everything inside of you, but it goes through the whole mathematical system. When you turn it on, it'll ask you if you're a guest. And I push, what's the next one? I push set. Okay, and the other one is, are you athletic or are you normal? So that really all depends on your journey. So I put athletic. Feel like I have a ton of muscle, so I get kind of put into that more athletic category. So I push set, and the next one is my height, and I put 5 foot 3.5 inches, and I push set again, and then I put my weight in. So my weight this morning was 141.5. Right now, though, it's not that, so I'm going to change it. I'm gonna go up to 144. It says 144.5, that's pretty close. So I'm gonna set, and my age is 36. Set, all right, and then you put your feet flat together, your hands out, and push start, and hold on to it. And it comes out that my fat is 26.1%. which is not terrible far off from what I have on the Caliber. It was 27.35, this is 26.1, and then my BMI is 25.2, which is actually saying it's high for my weight, but BMI can be very misleading in this process. So I try not to hold a lot of account into that, because if you have a lot of muscle, all it is taking an average of your height and your weight and telling you what your average fat is in your body. But I have a lot of more muscle than somebody else that's my height, age, and weight. So I don't take that too much into account right now in this process. It's more of an indicator than actual anything else. So when you go to the doctor and they say that, the doctor should be taking into account your fitness level, your activity level, your age, your weight, the way you're shaped, and everything. They should be taking more into consideration of those things. So right now, I think that's going to get me started. Today is only Saturday, September 1st. So Sunday, we're going to talk more about meal prepping and my macros and how I'm going to start that process. Hopefully, I'm just winging it. I know I'm going to get a plan, and we're gonna go on this journey together. I'm very excited, and I hope that hope you stay tuned and watch me. Thank you so much.